In the world of wrestling, strength isn't just measured by muscle, but by endurance, agility, and the will to power through. Picture the titans of the ring, dashing with ferocity, their every step shaking the ground beneath them. They're not just athletes, they're warriors in a modern-day coliseum, engaging in an eternal dance of tactics and sheer might. Running the ropes isn't just about speed. It's a game of strategy, a test of fortitude. Picture the electricity that fills the air as they bounce back, ready to make their move. It's a dance, a performance, a battle. In wrestling, every moment counts. Every step, every bounce, every breath is part of something bigger. It's not just a sport. It's a spectacle. It's a world where heroes are made, where legends are born. This is the world of wrestling. This is Running the Ropes. What's up, everybody? I know this is not Tuesday, my normal running time, but I could not let this guest get away. Had to do this interview. So, man, I'm just so excited. I don't even know how to introduce him. I'm just going to bring him on, and we'll go from there. So ask him our normal questions, and hopefully you guys enjoy this as much as I know I'm going to. So without further ado, let's bring on Dr. Mr. the Thrill Billy, sir. I'm honored and privileged. How the hell are you?
You know, that's not the whole list, but of my many accomplishments. But, you know, I know brevity is your whole thing, brother. I'm doing good.
Excellent, excellent. So here on this show, we like to tell stories. Just like wrestlers in the ring, everything has a story associated to it, whether it's your wrestling moves, your backstory, where you come from. So we're going to get into some personal questions real quick. Every wrestler has a starting point, and most of the time it is when they're younger. How did you get into or introduced to wrestling?
Like how the very first thing of wrestling I saw. I believe I was a kid, and I'm down here in East Tennessee, and so the first thing on television was WCW. Can't remember if it was Thunder. I believe it was a Nitro, but it was Ultimo Dragon and La Parka getting it on in the middle of the ring. And I said, man, I got to jump around and flip. And that's why I'm known for my various lucha moves.
Excellent. That's awesome.
It grew my love of lucha libre, you know.
WCW was known for that. Their division for lucha was second to none. So many good wrestlers that are out there. So you started with WCW. Did you get much into WWE at the time or WWF?
We call it WWF in these parts, brother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we were. I didn't have cable growing up, so I kind of got to catch whatever was popping on, off and on between the local channels, and so it ended up being, I think, Metal. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Well, like Metal, but then eventually just the recap shows and stuff like that. But no, I was big into The Rock, man. That was my guy when I was younger.
Yeah, and I think it was more territorial because I'm from New England originally, and we got WWF on our regular shows. It was just, we didn't have WCW. We had to get the cable to watch that. So, I grew up watching the WWF wrestlers, but, and then got into the WCW things there. So as you were watching it, did you have, and you said you enjoyed The Rock, who are some of your favorite wrestlers as you were first getting into it? Who did you look up to or want to pattern yourself after?
Well, I was about to say, I didn't really look. I was always the biggest man who ever lived, so I didn't really look up to any. You know what I'm saying? Like it's mostly like looking down at people. But man, I'd say like Mick Foley, it was like Rock, Mick Foley, Austin. Dude, Kurt Angle was my guy back in the day, man. Like I wouldn't be. I see. I won state twice for no reason because I thought I was under the assumption to be a professional wrestler, you had to be a good amateur wrestler. You know, I read Mick Foley's book. I'd see, Kurt Angle was an Olympic gold medalist. So I was like, well, I guess I got to do it. So I won 2 state titles. Turns out, no correlation whatsoever. So I just won a whole bunch for no reason. Ain't that something? Ain't that a kick in the head?
Right. I mean, I wouldn't say it's for no reason, but that pure athletic, just prowess that you have, just shines through in any circumstance. I would say.
I'm a hyper athlete. Yeah, I'm one of a kind, cut from a different cloth, brother.
Right. So, you mentioned the luchador. Did you like singles matches to watch or tag matches? A lot of people have a preference.
Honestly, man, it just really depended on who was getting in there. I particularly remember they had like a tables match with it was Rock and Taker main event against the Dudley Boys, and it just had if you got those guys in it, someone's going through a damn table. I'm excited and I'm watching it. I was big into the Brian Christopher, Scott Taylor, Too Cool. That was those are my Rikishi. I'm in tight with the Samoans and Tongans, and it started from a young age. But I was into Too Cool, APA. Hell, man, I love wrestling, and if it's good wrestling, I like it.
Excellent. So, did you ever go to any live events or things that were close to you? Locally, yeah.
Oh, dude, my mom used to have this picture as an old Polaroid. See, the kids. Oh, I guess the kids these days are printing it out, whatever they're getting on the TikToks. But we had the old Polaroid of Kane throwing down the fire. And just that old bulb and flash signs everywhere, man. I remember that vividly. It definitely left a mark on me. Not just because I stood too close to the flames.
Right. Well, did you have any favorite memories growing up with wrestling? I don't know. I know you did the amateur wrestling. You won the 2 state championships there, but as far as, did you grow up around wrestling in a wrestling family, or is it just something that just came naturally to you and you took off with it, or
no, my dad hated it. My dad's one of these people who anytime something's vaguely satanic, he got the whole Lord, he didn't want to have anything to do with it. So my mom would essentially have to contraband me SmackDown. So she would, swapping out custodies on certain weekends, and she'd just pop in the tape. So I kind of had to sneak it like a junkie trying to get his fix. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But so not really. Yeah, no. My uncles all love it. They were on the wrestling team. It's like I said, my dad was mainly just because of the doesn't like that goth shit.
Right.
I mean, I love it. I don't know if we can swear on this podcast.
Sure,
I tend not to, but
hey,
that's how I would describe it, as goth shit.
Yeah.
If it's any kind of that stuff, you don't like it.
I went from New England down to deep southeast Texas, and it was met with a lot of the same type of things. If you couldn't watch it, if you couldn't have it in the church, then you shouldn't be watching it. Kind of, mentality.
We call them Y'all Qaeda.
Right?
It's basically Sharia law. Everyone just wanted people to be lame as them.
Yeah. I enjoyed the wrestling. I did manage to get out a little bit and go to the Sportatorium, the famous Sportatorium, and get to watch Von Erichs versus the Freebirds up there. So that was a good time, but kind of showing my age a little bit.
Oh yeah, you're 1 foot in the grave, brother.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm grandpa for a reason, man. But so as it goes from personally, now switching gears to professionally, how did you get your start professionally in the wrestling business once you decided to pull that trigger?
Well, I went to a seminar that I found on a Facebook ad. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I just because I had no idea how to get into it, so found a Facebook ad. Went up there, trained with this guy Chase Owens, who's in, he's doing the New Japan stuff, and I broke in there. I was the only one who was stupid enough out of the 50 people to show back up. But then, a couple of years later, I started getting trained by Dr. Tom. So that's really when my career and everything took off.
All right. And I saw in your profile that you spend a lot of time like traveling the country, like most wrestlers do. You start with one area, and then you manage to get back down to Tennessee. Um, do you have like a favorite spot that you enjoyed wrestling as you were coming up through the business?
Well, don't get me wrong. I wish I could get everybody to come in my backyard and still pay me for it, but we got to pay the bills around here, so we got to travel where the people are.
Right.
But dude, San Antonio, underrated city.
Mm.
Yeah. But in terms of an actual place like Australia, people think it's fake because it's on the bottom of the flat Earth, but it's real apparently, and I've been there, and it was pretty sick.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, that's one of my dream locations to go. To go
you can
check
travel
out.
there in your dreams too. You just have to take a lot of stuff.
Right. Is the wrestling different
Yeah,
there or
because
in
you're upside
other
down.
countries? Yeah.
You're upside down because it's the flat Earth.
Right.
You're on the bottom of it, so you just kind of got to get used to that. But I've never lost a match in my life, so I picked it up pretty quick. Like I said, I'm pretty much the greatest athlete that has ever been on the planet. So
I absolutely understand that. Yeah. So who do you wrestle for currently?
the National Wrestling Alliance, pal, NWA, Billy Corgan. I'm getting percentages of what his net worth is just to be here. And this Saturday, NWA 76 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You remember ECW back in the day, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You remember that? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of brain dead goofs and idiots in that promotion, but the biggest one was this guy Steve Carino. And so
Yeah.
what he did was what I consider pretty messed up, and he spawned. He had a son. And so his son, Colby Carino, I get the privilege of whooping his ass at the ECW arena this Saturday in Philadelphia. Man, ain't that pretty cool? I get to finally prune that tree, the family tree. And it's the Carinos, so there's not too many like forking paths on that thing.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of straight and narrow.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's going to be at the old ECW arena.
Yeah, the place where his dad lost all those brain cells is the same place. They can go looking for him together.
There you go. Probably underneath some folding chairs somewhere. Bottom of it,
There definitely ain't in that empty case they call a head. That's for sure.
So I know that you've won several championships, both in singles and tag. Do you have a particular one that you prefer, whether it's be a singles wrestler or a tag wrestler?
100% singles, because that's where you make the big bucks. Beyonce broke off from Destiny's Child. There's always the guy who is I can't think of any more references. Beyonce's the one I'm going to go with then. Beyonce.
Why not?
Because people have always told me, Thrill, you're like the Beyonce of professional wrestling, and I have to agree. But so that's where you make your money. But in terms of like the intricacies of how a match works, how it flows, like I've been in the rock and roll game a long time. Me and Billy Corgan go way back from our radio days. But in a band, it's more tagging and stuff like that. It's more like band. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're playing in a band, not like those nerds with the tubas and crap. But it's getting everybody on the same page. People have their vision for something, and when it works, and it works like gangbusters. But there's a little bit more to it, and it's fun in its own way.
Nice. So, is there a wrestler that, and I don't want to say compared to because you can't be compared to,
Right.
but like say like a wrestling style. Hey, this guy reminds me of insert wrestler name here, if that makes sense.
For me?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that I did play the guy in a movie recently, right?
Okay. I just was making sure that's all going
And
to line
this guy,
up.
the Bam Bam Terry Gordy. That's what
Right.
everybody was saying. There, it's like, man, if somebody got the DNA of Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy and spliced them together, that'd be me. But I'm way bigger than both of them. It's like you stood them both on top of their shoulders. But no, for that movie role, man, they messaged me that Zach had hit me up. I figured I could help him out a little bit, and so they asked if I knew who Terry Gordy was. I said, brother, I've been ripping them off since I got in the business. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, like Gordy, Barry Windham, Magnum TA, stuff like that. That's my Mike Awesome. I get Mike Awesome a lot. That's just mostly, because we're both insanely jacked and, athletic.
Yeah, I mean, good looking, athletic, and just
Yeah.
ready to go at a drop of a hat.
Ready to drop a dude on his head like that.
Right. So, yeah, you did mention Iron Claw. So Zach had messaged you about the movie?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he wanted this thing to have some star power to it. So he hollered at me, hollered at a couple of guys. And, it's like a little independent film is what I heard about it. So, came down there, helped him out for a little while. I wanted to see the University of Tennessee Vols absolutely destroy the LSU Tigers in Death Valley in Baton Rouge, which is where it was filmed. And it was a fun little thing to do on the side. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I know you have a busy schedule. Does it take long to film like movies and things like that? Or, how much time did that take out of your schedule?
Well, it's Hollywood, baby, and time is money. So it does take a while and stuff like that, but the longer it takes, the more I make. So hell, I don't care. But no, just what it is you got to get your breaks for this, you got to get your breaks for that. Okay, so we're bringing in the dudes for the wrestling scenes this week. We're running these, so you fly in and out. And I flew down to Baton Rouge, hell, like 10 times.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. Baton Rouge and Louisiana as a whole, I cannot wait till it sinks into the ocean, man.
Oh man, yeah, I hear you. So now, do people recognize you now from that movie?
All
Even
the time.
before? Yeah.
Mostly it's around here. I'm on the local news so much they always holler at me about that, and then I'd see the movie, and then seeing me on NWA on the CW app. They're just seeing me everywhere. So most of the time, though, people just like point at me and they're like, "That's the biggest man that's ever lived." They say that. I hear them.
Right. So I know that you've held the championship, and I'm sure it's just a matter of time until you grab that gold again. But what are your current plans for, say, NWA, or for future championships, or how are you looking to proceed forward?
I'm looking to win a belt and make a ton of money. What are you talking about? Proceed forward. There's only one way to go, and that's forward, brother. And here's the thing, man. Honestly, the championship, the prestige that it brings, people want to know what it's really about. What it's really about is bait. And here's what I mean by that. That world's heavyweight title that EC3 is carrying around, he wants to sit there and he acts like it's, oh my God, oh my God. No, dude, it's bait. You want the biggest fights possible. You want the biggest fights you can get to make the most money. That title means you're always in big money fights.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get that, you can use that title and dangle it like a little worm in front of a fish. You can snag these sons of bitches with it. So That's what I plan on doing. Winning the world title and then get every fight I want, defend it as much as I want, and make as much money as I want.
There you go.
I want a lot of money, brother.
So I know this is going to be a dumb question.
Yeah.
I already know it before I even ask it.
I know too, man.
But is there somebody that you haven't wrestled yet that if you could just say, ooh, if I could get my hands on them, this would be a fight
Actually, man, I already know, dude. I already know. Eric Smalls.
Okay.
That little dweeb that Murdoch and Knox got running around with him. I think he's like their son or something like that. But that little kid's got a mouth on him. And I'll tell you, I'll smack that taste right out of his mouth. He talking to an adult man the way he did. He punched me in the ding dong, dude. And he ditched. Ding dong ditch is what he did. So if I get my hands on that little weasel, I'm going to plant him in the ground like a stake. And I'm going to bury his ass.
Right. All right. So, yeah. And I know that you'll take on anybody at any time, at anywhere.
For the right price. Absolutely. I ain't fighting no drunks out in the street. Don't want your fans getting me out.
The price is, it's all about that money.
That's
I completely understand. Well, why exert yourself if you're not going to get something for it? I completely understand. Yeah. So, there's rumors going around that wrestling is now having a new renaissance, that it is cool to watch wrestling and be a fan of wrestling. We have wrestlers popping up from one promotion. Now they're on TV over here. You got this wrestler, it's over here, and he's going over here, and they're running their mouths and doing their thing. What are your thoughts on, is wrestling going through a new renaissance, or has it always been there and it's just people are just now starting to understand it?
No, in terms of cultural relevance and in terms of the money they're making, this is the hottest wrestling's ever been since probably the 90s. You got people just selling out arenas all over the place. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a wrestling podcast. Sorry. But like the thing is, it's been there for a while. Like I remember back in the doldrums where like the indies, it was like, you had like a handful of them, and you had like Colt Cabana's Art of Wrestling podcast, and that's about it. And those marks who went off and made that other company in California, they were doing their flips in between flying over to Japan to do jobs. Hey, we all got to do something to make some money. But yeah, they're just t-shirt salesmen. But I remember that whole build up, and then like it really has only been like the last like 3 years, I feel, when it's just started.
Yeah.
And you can look at it from a numbers perspective too. So anyone who like kind of says anything about it, it's like, I know not a lot of people believe in numbers and shit anymore, but look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. I know Billy Corgan wouldn't be doing this with the NWA if he wasn't making some money off of it.
Right.
Because he's not the kind of guy who just, doing it for a tax write-off.
Yeah, no, he'd be making music somewhere. So,
right.
Yeah, he's making money off of it, and he loves it. Kind of like the reason why I do the podcast. I don't make any money off this podcast. I don't. But I love talking to people that are in the business, and I love seeing their passion and their energy for wrestling. And any chance that I get to share that with the world, I'm going to do it. Even if it's a small little.
Not even just about the money. It's cool again.
Yeah.
Dude, seeing Rhea Ripley's sexy pin girls on like your TikToks and your Instagram reels, you look at the dang engagement that gets. Like people do all the time. I'm a big meme guy. Mm-hmm. All these wrestling memes out there, like you got people posting them all the time, man. Like it's culturally relevant. It's not just making a lot of money, but like people are into it because they think it's cool, because wrestling is cool, baby. Shit. Ain't that complicated.
That's awesome. All right. So I know you have an event coming up in the armpit of Society of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Well, they're going to clean up the streets whenever I'm there, because they're going to rename the city Thrilladelphia.
There you go.
I already talked to Senator Shapiro about it. We got some APAC money, and we're going to clean up the streets.
Hopefully it lasts, because really, once you leave
it
town,
won't. It will not.
Yeah.
We're just putting a Band-Aid on the situation. Believe me.
A cesspool. I can't stand Philly. But you know what?
I heard their cheesesteaks were pretty good. You telling me they got
not
good cheesesteaks?
They're okay. They're okay. Yeah.
Huh. What about the cream cheese there? I heard the cream cheese was good.
Yes. Yeah. Cream cheese.
I know
is
the
really
Bells nothing to write home about. It's just got a crack in it.
right. Yeah.
Rocky was there though.
Kind of like everything else. It's just kind of halfway done, in Philly. You
Huh.
got a belt's got a crack in it. You got
Well, that's probably why
cheesesteaks that are
76ers
okay,
suck and they're never going to win anything.
But that's all right. So
Man.
what else is on the horizon for you?
Well, we got NWA 76 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We've already sufficiently pissed off everyone else there. And then after that, in the I believe it's the 20th through the 23rd, we'll be in Chicago for Riot Fest. My favorite band, Battlesnake, will not be there, but Fall Out Boy and some other band, the Smashing Pumpkins, is going to be there. So you might want to check that out. And there's going to be some wrestling.
Nice.
And then we got a bunch of other stuff on the horizon I cannot yet speak about.
Excellent. All right. Well,
Well, for the next couple of weeks, that'll get your thrill, but get your fill of the thrill.
Right. You know what? I don't think we could ever get enough.
They mostly can't, but I have to take care of myself sometimes too. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right. Well, speaking of that, on downtime, which I know you don't have much downtime, what do you like to do?
Beat people up. I do jujitsu down at Memento Combat Sports. And yeah, that's it. I really just do that, work out, go train with Doc, go train jujitsu, play video games sometimes.
Right.
Long walks on the beach.
That's awesome. All right, brother. I know that this was going to be a short one, but I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day. So everyone go check out NWA 76 in Philadelphia. Thank you very much, sir. Have a great evening.
Thank you, brother.